Blasting, skating and screaming our way onto your screens this week with another packed Cybernet and me, Lucy Longhurst. Get down in the dumps with the family blub. Get into a flap with Duck City. And just what goes on when you make a computer game. We reveal all on Cybernet. There are a couple of futuristic sports games heading up the programme this week. For starters, here's HyperBlade. It's a 21st century cross between ice hockey, lacrosse and rollerball, set in a 3D real-time arena, where your players have to move swiftly across court, ruthlessly pushing past anyone who threatens to get between you and that all-important goal. Once you've selected your team, you can choose to be any character, including the goalie, and you can switch between them throughout the game. There are 3 players in each team, and none of them are going to be nice when it comes to getting hold of that ball. The only way to get it is to knock your opponent down and speed off. The result is a slick and fast 3D sports game that makes a welcome change from all the usual, more conventional sports titles we've seen, and it'll appeal to those who like playing rough. And there's no fair play in this next game either. Pitball is in another future and on another planet. Well, 12 planets to be precise, and not all the inhabitants are human. The parody for this game is basketball, only you're playing in pits. The best way to play Pitball is against a friend to bring out the really competitive element of the game. And it almost becomes a combat sim because you throw in punches and kicks to retrieve the ball, which looks just like a sphere of light. The rules are few and there's no ref to tell you off if you punch below the belt. If you end up fighting in your home court, you'll notice the advantages as you can adapt to the environment. All the better for using that brute force. Could these 2 titles, HyperBlade and Pitball, mean an end to games based on the sports we know, like football and tennis, and herald a move towards more imaginative sporting challenges? Probably not, but skating into the next century and playing ball with some aliens does make a change. Multimedia doesn't have to mean video clips and a lot of useful information. It can be fun too. After all, what else would you call a dog simulator? Behind every great dog lies a great owner, or in this case, artist. Alan Snow isn't your average computer animator who's fond of realism. He likes the personal touch. His latest subject is ducks. It started with a duck dunking a few hoops, then it grew and grew. Duck City is a collection of simple games, screensavers and puzzles starring ducks in a big way. So pick a building to explore and become the duck you've always wanted to be. Alan Snow's more used to illustrating young people's storybooks than the latest PC arcade blaster. For Duck City, he swapped his pen for a computer stylus, but the ideas still come from the same place.
I don't really have a favourite duck to draw. It's mostly about what I can draw, and I develop characters just on paper usually. And after a while I sort of end up with a stylised duck that I kind of like and enjoy, and I find that I can express sort of like cartoon things through.
Ducks have to look their best, so go for the short look at the barbers, or maybe try a blow dryer out on a friend. In this world, slugs are the enemy, and there's only one person who can keep the streets safe from slime. Yes, it's Robo-Duck. Suck those slugs up with a turbo vacuum and avoid the cabbages. Most people would call Duck City edutainment, but when we played it, all we could do was laugh, and that's really the whole point.
It's meant as an amusement. It's not supposed to be edutainment. It's not supposed to be anything earnest or serious. It's just supposed to be entertaining, and if it's entertaining, then it's successful.
Now let's have a look at the most popular games in our Saturn chart. At 5, there's no move for the arcade action game set in a security jail with special weapons and power-ups you can't fail to escape from Loaded. The combat game that'll keep you fighting from one situation to another and may the best man win, Fighting Vipers, is still at 4. Dropping 2 to 3 is Daytona USA Championship Circuit Edition. With better graphics, more tracks and a 2-player mode. It'll make you tighten your grip. Moving up one place is the fabulous Footy Sim, where you can tackle the whole world without even putting on your trainers. Worldwide Soccer 97 is at 2. And shooting up to the #1 spot, we find Lara Croft on her all-action search for an ancient artifact. It's Tomb Raider. And speaking of chart beaters, here's a game that's being tipped for the top.
Dad!
It's time to welcome the Blub family to Earth. Their spacecraft crash lands as they travel to a vacation spot, and it ends up in a rubbish tip. It's enough to leave anyone feeling down in the dumps. Down in the Dumps is divided into 4 cartoons, each with a different member of the family as the protagonist.
Yeah, the programmers were supposed to fix that.
There are numerous puzzles to solve, and the action switches effortlessly between interactive gameplay and cinematic sequences.
And then you'll see an amazing sight.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Don't be deceived by the cartoon feel of the game, because some of the humour is definitely aimed at adults, and it's actually very funny. Take the Blub's pet, Stinky, for example, who acts as the butt for many of the gags. The reason you're here is to help the Blubs find parts of their missing spaceship which are scattered around the rubbish dump. But you'll be surprised where the adventure can lead you. Mrs. Blub meets a genie and wishes herself onto a game show.
Couldn't you just write for tickets like everyone else?
Her wish is your command.
Contestants, Mr. X.
Hi, Mom.
And Mrs. Blub.
Hello.
Mr. Blub finds himself in a much more compromising position, but he has to do the right thing to solve the puzzle. Down in the Dumps combines adventure gaming and action in a way that'll give it a broad appeal. It's got great animation and graphics, amusing characters, there's plenty to see and do, and it's certainly one of the best looking point-and-click adventures we've seen or played for quite some time.
Silence! This show is over!
No, it's not over yet, because we've still got to take a look at Discworld 2. Once again, that crazy wizard Rincewind has caused chaos, and once again he's the only person who can put it right. Yes, it's a point-and-click adventure, and yes, like the first Discworld, it's based on the novels by author Terry Pratchett. This time round, however, there are some improvements to the gameplay. Rincewind's vocabulary has increased dramatically, and the whole game is more playable. Even the humour's good.
The pure green grass, the gentle sun, the tedious old fools hitting balls with long sticky things.
Okay, you won't get action sequences in Discworld 2, but there are puzzles to solve as you roam around the area, meeting and having conversations with strange people, collecting objects, and slowly working your way towards putting Discworld back to normal, after Rincewind's crazy magic has turned everything upside down. Pratchett fans will appreciate the warped humour, while puzzle fans will certainly have many hours of frustrating brain teasing with this new Discworld title. What do you get when you cross Street Fighter with 3D combat games like Toshinden? Well, the answer is Star Gladiator, brought to the PlayStation by Capcom, the makers of Street Fighter. This is one combat game that's going to have its competitors on their backs begging for mercy, as it's no ordinary battle. Star Gladiator is weapon-based, with each of the strange alien characters using their own unique accessory, from Star Wars-style lightsabers to strange glowing rings. Star Gladiator has a huge range of moves, it's very fast and has responsive controls. There are 9 characters and 3 secret ones that appear at random. The special moves include such things as doubling in size and becoming invisible. But the real question here is, does the PlayStation need another combat game, with games such as Tekken 2 already having such a huge following? Star Gladiator may approach the genre from a different angle, but if you've already got a good combat game, how many more do you need? That said, if you haven't got one, this is one of the best so far. Now for another not-so-original game, Disruptor. In the too distant future, mankind has established several habitable settlements in space, and it's your mission to protect them against all sorts of alien bad boys. Sounds familiar? Well, Disruptor is yet another Doom-style game. It has 13 different levels of blasting action. Each of these worlds is more complex than your standard first-person arcade adventurer, and the graphics and monsters are all highly detailed. Although there is a gratuitous storyline, the aim of this game is simply to blast everything in sight, and there are a lot of things to blast. But there's nothing new about that. There are many bad Doom-style games around at the moment, but luckily this one's different, because despite its limitations, it's highly playable. Each mission places you in ever-increasing danger, and you'll need to think as well as have quick reflexes if you're to survive and move on to the next level. When we go to find out what we want to buy for our computer or console, it's in a shop, where all we can do is check out the packaging and the pretty pictures. Before it all gets to the shops, though, it gets shown with far more care and attention at interactive entertainment trade shows around the world, where the public isn't invited in. The biggest and most important show used to be the Consumer Electronics Show, held twice a year in the USA. The event covered almost every kind of electronic device, and interactivity, which started out as a small part of the show, grew to dominate it in the 90s. It wasn't long before someone suggested an alternative. And so in 1995, E3 was born. Held in Los Angeles, this was the moment when Hollywood really did say hello to Silicon Valley, and the business was seen to have grown up. E3 is now the focus for developers, publishers and distributors from all over the world, as well as anyone hoping to get into the industry. E3 is a chance for companies to show off their upcoming software and hardware, see what their competitors are doing, and try to strike as many deals as possible in one meeting after another. ECTS is Europe's smaller version of E3. It used to be held twice a year, but now that publishers want to hold back their best products to unveil in Los Angeles, it's switched to an autumn-only arrangement. As a result, ECTS in late 1996 was the biggest it had ever been, with almost as many millions being spent on displays as at E3. From being trapped at a trade show to being trapped in a chamber, a blast chamber. You find yourself in a room with a bomb strapped to your back. Nasty. The obvious goal is not to blow yourself up before your time runs out. It's a race against the clock as you search for the crystal that will add valuable seconds to your life. Put it into your color-coded transmitter and you'll get a reprieve. Put it in somebody else's and they'll lose time. There are various chambers throughout different levels of the game, and their main feature is that they rotate. You control them, so choose the right time and you can dislodge the crystal from somebody's hands just as they're about to reach the transmitter. But watch out, because they can do the same to you. Each chamber has different traps and pitfalls, like these painful-looking spikes and open spaces in the floors or ceilings, depending on which way round the chamber is at the time. There are also some power-ups to help you beat the others. These high-jump boots are particularly useful on this level. Blast Chamber is certainly something a bit different. The graphics are not the best we've seen, but its mix of gameplay, racing against the clock and strategy make it surprisingly enjoyable to play. And there's a multiplayer option for up to 4 people, which adds to the tension. This is one chamber that's a real blast. And there's some blasting going on around the streets of Mechio, the strange-sounding name of the metropolis where Crimewave is set. Although there are cars, this isn't a racing game, and although you fire at things, it's not really a combat game either. You're a vigilante cruising the streets to keep them free of trouble. In one of your heavily armoured cars, you drive round, and when something appears on your scanner, you go and get them. Each hit wins you credits, which can be used at garages to improve your car's features, giving you even more chances to get those baddies. You may get your target this time, but watch out for other cars. If you target them, you could destroy an innocent vehicle. Crimewave is an admirable attempt to combine two different genres, but in doing so, it's lost the main elements which make each type of game so successful. It's not competitive enough to be a racer, nor in-your-face enough to be a combat game. Crimewave is playable, but it won't blow you away. Behind every game is a huge team of people and years of preparation. But what do all these games have in common? Well, they were produced by one software company, Gremlin Interactive. We went behind the scenes at their headquarters to find out exactly what goes into making a new game and where the initial ideas come from.
The design for a game can come from one of many things, a character or a 3D engine. It really depends on the style of game. We like to start, a good story is a good starting point for a game.
So let's take Realms of the Haunting as an example. Following the brainstorming, the graphic designer gets to work producing a storyboard, like this one for the opening sequence. It's just like producing a movie, as every part of the game has a visual script. Meanwhile, the programmers are hard at work writing the game code and working on the engine, which provides the structure and movement within the game. The look of the game is crucial, and there's a whole team of people who design the graphics. They work either from drawings or from written descriptions of the characters and surroundings to create the final animated results. Everything from the background to smaller incidental objects need to be created, and it means a long, laborious process of modelling, colouring and animating before they're ready to be part of the game. To give a more realistic feel to their games, Gremlin have an in-house motion capture studio, where by using infrared cameras they can digitise any movement. This is particularly useful in their Actua Sports series, as it gives lifelike movement to the players. Once the graphics are completed, they're incorporated into the game engine, and the programming continues. At the top of Gremlin's offices, one of the last important elements is added to the game, the sound effects. Games with speech are also redubbed into a variety of languages. Once this is done, all that remains is to record the music, which is written and played in-house and then added to the graphics and sound effects. And so the program is finally finished, but it's not quite ready to hit the shelves. The game is now given to the testers, who'll play it all the way through looking for bugs and glitches, or simply anything they don't like. These problems are then reported to the programmers, who'll try and fix them. For us players, this is possibly the most important part of game production, as no one wants to buy a faulty game. Not all games are good, which is why we're here to sort out all the very best ones for you. If you've got any opinions on games, the internet or electronic entertainment, why not let us know? You can send a letter or an email. Until next time, I'll leave you with the graphically charged intro sequence from Deadly Tide, where space-age combat is what it's all about. Go get 'em!